What's up, guys? Today we will be comparing the Galaxy S22 Ultra to the Pixel 7 Pro. Which older flagship should you pick up here in 2024? Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's start off with the price here. So you can find the Pixel 7 Pro a little bit cheaper. Around $326 is the cheapest that I'm seeing it. And the S22 is about $399. So you are going to pay just a little bit more for the S22 Ultra here. So definitely take that into consideration. Always be sure to cross-check platforms and stuff like that as well. Alright, so let's go ahead and dive in here. So let's talk about the hardware here. So I think both phones have aged really well as far as the hardware. I do think the Pixel 7 Pro is a little bit easier to hold. It's not as sharp and boxy as the S22 Ultra, so it's just a little bit easier to hold. They're both pretty big phones as well too, as you can see, about the same size here. Now you do have a matte finish on the S22, which it doesn't pick up fingerprints really, which is something that I really like. But this version of the Pixel that I have, it's the white version. It's glossy, but it doesn't pick up fingerprints. Now if you had like a black version or something like that, then you would see smudges and stuff. But this one is a really clean one, so I really like this color. They're both IP68 dust and water resistant as well. You can see the camera design on both of these phones as well too. You can see very unique looking as well. And so I think the designs have aged really well. They're not too far off from the latest Galaxy and Pixel phones. But yeah, the one trick that the S22 Ultra has up its sleeve is actually the S Pen support. So this could be a big feature for you if you're a digital artist, or if you're somebody who really prefers to navigate with a pen and use your phone. Also, Samsung has a ton of features on here as well too, as far as Smart Select, Screen Write, and obviously the note taking and stuff like that. You can use it to take photos as well. So if you are a content creator, you can kind of take photos and take videos and stuff like that, and use your S Pen for that, since it is Bluetooth. So definitely a very handy tool. So definitely take that into consideration as well too. Alright, so let's take a look at both displays here. So we got really great displays on both of these phones here. So you do have the 6.7-inch LTPO AMOLED display on the Pixel. It's 120 Hz HDR10+, 1500 nits peak brightness. It is a curved display. And then you also do have 1440p resolution, 512 for the PPI. And on the S22, you do have a 6.8-inch display, so it is a slightly bigger display. And then it's the Dynamic AMOLED, 120 Hz HDR10+, with a slightly higher max brightness at 1750 nits peak brightness. It is also 1440p and 500 for the PPI. So you can see a lot of similarities. This is also a curved panel as well too. And they actually look pretty, pretty similar in terms of color. The S22 is definitely a little bit more saturated, a little bit more colorful. But for the most part, yes, technically the S22 Ultra, it does have the better display here when we talk about max brightness. But besides that, that's pretty much it. Like I said, they're really similar. And I would definitely give points to the Pixel 7 Pro for being easier to hold as well too. So that I definitely think you should take that into consideration. But yeah, two excellent displays, so you really can't go wrong with either of these. Alright, so let's talk about the specs here. So on the Pixel 7 Pro, you have the Tensor G2 processor, 128 gigs of internal storage, 12 gigs of RAM. The S22 has the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and you have 128 gigs and 8 gigs of RAM. These are the base models. Alright, so you can see there is a bit of a score difference here, but not by much. The S22 comes out on top in the single core, and also the multi-core slightly, but it's not really that big of a deal when it comes to the overall performance of these two phones. I find that both these phones are really, really smooth in terms of launching applications and just getting into apps really smoothly here. So if you get into a quick little app launch here, you can see they roughly feel the same, especially when it comes to smoothness and scrolling. I do think the Pixel feels a little bit smoother. I've always thought the Pixels were like really smooth when it comes to the animation consistency. But yeah, they both 120 hertz screens, both really smooth. So let's go to Play Store. So you can see basically the same thing here. Now I think you'll notice a slight difference when you get into like launching games. The S22 should be a little bit faster. Yeah. So yeah, it'll be a little bit faster on the S22 when you're launching like anything a little bit heavier. But the Pixel on this base model should have better RAM management as well too. Since it has more RAM, it can hold more applications in the background as well. Alright, so here's what you will notice here with the gaming performance and stuff like that. The Tensor does a pretty good job, but you can see there's no 90 frames. Now, it can play PUBG, HDR 60 just fine, no issue. So the gaming performance is just fine on here. It's not, a big deal. But I would say if you're more of a competitive gamer, then you're probably going to go with the S22 here because it is a little bit more optimized. You can see it has the 90 frame settings on here. So, you get the faster frame rates, and you'll see this consistently through, Call of Duty, Fortnite, Genshin. It's just going to perform a little bit better on the S22. So I would say if you're an overall competitive gamer, I would definitely go with the S22 Ultra here. But both phones can definitely game, no problem. If you're a more casual gamer, the Pixel is just fine. Alright, so we got both of these guys at max volume. So let's go ahead and hear them. We'll start with the S22. So I feel like there's really no competition here. The Pixel 7 Pro easily has the better speakers. I've always said this, the S22 Ultra speakers are probably some of Samsung's worst speakers. And they're not terrible, but for a flagship device, like when this first came out, how expensive it was, these were not good. It's just really flat sounding, there's no bass. You can even hear the low bass notes on the Pixel. So really good on the Pixel 7 Pro. Easily takes this one. Alright, so this is an area where the Pixel 7 Pro actually does not win. So this is the fingerprint scanner. So it has a optical fingerprint scanner, which works fine. But I really like the ultrasonic one in the S22 Ultra here because you can kind of lightly tap it. With the optical ones, you have to slightly put a little bit of pressure, and you can just kind of lightly tap it really fast. And this one, you kind of just, apply a little bit of pressure. It's a very small thing, and it's not really a big deal, but it's just something that, I've noticed. Alright, so let's talk about the cameras. So this was a really interesting thing, so let me know what you guys think of these side-by-side stills. So the S22 Ultra has a 108 megapixel standard. You have the 100 times zoom on here as well too. And then you also have a 10 megapixel telephoto, 3 times optical, 10 megapixel periscope with 10 times optical, 12 megapixel ultra wide, and then 8K 24 video, 40 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. The Pixel has a 50 megapixel standard and its max zoom is 30 times. And then you also do have on here a 48 megapixel telephoto with 5 times optical, 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 4K 60 only, and then it has a 10.8 megapixel selfie cam that shoots in 4K 60. So check out these side-by-side stills. Let me know what you guys think of the image processing. Which phone do you think takes the better photo? All right, so lastly, I want to talk about battery life. So battery life is actually very similar on these two devices. Not super impressive battery life. I will say that throughout the years, the updates have, increased the battery life with these phones. Definitely standby time's a little bit better than when I first got them, especially with the S22 Ultra. The battery life is actually much better with the One UI 6.1 update as far as standby time goes. But besides that, they both have 5,000 milliamp hour batteries. The S22 Ultra does have a leg up in terms of fast charging. It's 45 watts versus the Pixel's 23 watts, so that's definitely something. But you also have faster wireless charging on the Pixel with 23 watt wireless charging versus the 15. They also can both do reverse wireless charging as well too. So two really excellent phones. It's kind of hard to say which one to get. Honestly, I was really impressed with the cameras. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Pixel, and I think this is going to come down to software. I think that's going to be a big thing as well too. Do you like the stock Pixel? Do you like the Google experience? I think that's a big player. Also, Pixel is a little bit cheaper, but you also have the S Pen on here as well with the S22 Ultra. You have all of Samsung's features like desktop support. So definitely a tough decision here. Both really excellent phones. They shine. They're just doing so well, in 2024. So let me know what you guys think. Which phone would you personally pick up? And I'll catch you guys in the next one.